What's up, manga fans? It's time for the latest piece of One Piece, chapter 1160, The God Valley Incident. We're finally getting it, and Oda better not cuck us, okay? Because we're getting it. It's starting off like this is our God Valley flashback. We're going to see, I don't expect us to see the entire 1v1 fights, everything going down exactly, you know what I mean? Because once again, this is not our main crew. This is not our main cast. So I do not expect to see the entirety of each individual fight like we would with the Straw Hats. Like Gabon versus a God's Knight, Roger and Garp versus Zebek. I do expect to see more than a clash, though. I'm hoping to see more of their abilities, more of the fighting. But just, I'm trying to table my expectations. And I'm giving all of you fair warning that this isn't going to be like Dressrosa or Alabasta, or what have you, where we get to see Zoro's individual fight from start to finish against Mr. One, and then Luffy's 2 or 3 fights against Crocodile, and then, you know what I mean? We're not going to see every single little tidbit. I really doubt it. So I'm tabling my expectations that we get to see more than just a clash of hockey between them. I'm hoping. I got my hope up. So let's just hope. I'm a Cowboys fan, so hope is usually my bread and butter, and everything else in between. So hope is what I cling to here. But we are still following Yamato and her walk through. She's rejoined into the flower capital sort of idea, overlooking, you know, the shrine to Odin and his companions, overlooking the flower capital and the cover serial and stuff. Will we continue this cover serial? Like, is there more that Oda wants to show going on in Wano, and sort of how Yamato ends up, like, obviously at this point Yamato is basically one of the deterrents along with Momonosuke, but Yamato, the son or daughter of Kaido, is the part of the Navy. Stay away. I'm the deterrent. I'm the new Kaido. Might not be as dangerous to try to invade me, but still, do you really want to tangle with me? No, you don't. So I'm definitely still interested in following more of her adventures across, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, now this is where I got something wrong last chapter, and I think that well, I understand sort of why I think I got it wrong. I was under the impression that the woman, that Dragon, and I think I was just misreading panels. I was under the impression that Dragon came across Blackbeard and his mother. That was the one, like, huddled up and blah, 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 because the panels were so close together. I assume that that's who Dragon came across. Dragon actually came across the dying Shanks' mother, who then gives him, and this chapter confirms it because he's there with Shamrock and stuff, and we see Blackbeard actually as a child and stuff. He was rounded up by soldiers and stuff. So I misinterpreted those panels. I don't think I was the only one, though, because a lot of people on Discord and Reddit and what have you also assume that, like, all right, Dragon's somehow involved with how Teach got away and how Shanks got away. We don't exactly know how that split up between Shamrock, blah, blah, blah. And Dragon could still be involved in this scenario on how Teach got away, but I was under the impression that that's who, like, he hadn't run into Shanks and Shamrock. He ran into Rox's wife and Teach's mother there. So that seems to not be the case, and I'm still also on the train that the Davy clan is literally the D clan. The D stands for Davy. It's not that deep. I'm just gonna straight up say it's not that deep. It doesn't really need to be that deep, because it was the name of the kingdom and stuff that was a big deal, more so, it seems like, if I remember correctly, from Ohara. Granted, the name might have something more meaning to it, we you know, but I don't know. I think Oda 100% would do that, because we have never referred to, they have constantly referred to the D clan. Specifically clan. They've always referred to them as the D clan, members of the D clan. Now all of a sudden, we have another enemy closely tied to this D-Clan, who are members of the D-Clan, who just happen to be now referred to as the Davy Clan. It could be possible that after this incident is when they stopped using the Davy name. It's possible. It could be the Davy, you know, the Davy Clan. I could see Oda doing that. remember, there's still humor and comedy in One Piece. So I'm still on that leg because once again here we keep seeing stuff about the Davy Clan. No one's mentioning the Will of D or the D Clan. They're only mentioning the Davy Clan as the big enemies. And it's brought up by Saturn saying, you did very well to find them, Garling. And Garling's like, it was simply an act of fate to find them. Like the remnants of the Davy Clan. They never refer to them as the D Clan, but it's like, so we're getting introduced to this other separate clan from the D Clan. No affiliation, supposedly, and they're also the enemies of the world government. And Carlin was like, ha 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 ha, like, this is fantastic. I found something that even Emu's going to be happy at. So you're telling me there was the D Clan and the Davy Clan who happen to also have both, like, it's just, no, I really still, I'm sitting in on the back saying that they're one and the same. The D Clan and the Davy Clan is the one and the same. It's one enemy of the world government, or at least Emu and stuff. So we're seeing all the cheering here in this chapter. The celestial dragons, they're throwing stuff, and they keep saying, please stop throwing damaged goods because the hunt's going to begin, and you can kill them later, sort of idea, right? It's absolutely terrible. It's like, oh, there's more buccaneers here and stuff like that, and we see some of them are quite large, so there are some buccaneers as well, and they state, like, feast your eyes upon the Davy Clan, the most hated of people, right? And stuff like that, like, shun them, isolate them and stuff, and we actually see one of these buccaneer fellows. I don't know if this was intentional, but he is wearing a straw hat. Just saying, it's very reminiscent, very looks a lot like certain people's straw hat there, and we saw the big one down, of course, in this freezer room in Marijoa. So, I'm just saying, like, maybe it was fit for a buccaneer to wear. Who knows? So they keep saying this. We do get to see Blackbeard's mother, and I did see a comment, forget who it was, but I'm going to use their line saying, Blackbeard's mom's genes didn't try at fucking all because this is one ugly son of a bitch. Like Blackbeard's mom is skinny, hot, the classic, looks like a Robin clone sort of idea. She's a good-looking woman and stuff like that, and Blackbeard is this ugly little brat, you know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, yeah. And not even like cool. Like, once again, Blackbeard is like, looks like Rocks in the wrong timeline at 40. You know what I mean? How Oda does that. Blackbeard literally had no chance with a evil, of course, and Super Saiyan 3 no eyebrows look, but Rocks definitely keeps in shape, and he's pretty badass looking to a degree, and he got with a pretty hot woman. And obviously their genes did not mesh whatsoever, because god damn. But anyways, he's absolutely terrified here, just trying to make some levity here in the situation, because it's absolutely dreadful, of course. They're throwing rocks and knives and stuff like that, and they're just like, this is absolutely, like, segregate them, get rid of them. And Blackbeard as a child is seeing the evil of people. He's witnessing all this, right? So then we jump back to the what I assumed was Dragon last chapter, coming across Blackbeard as a child, but here it's Dragon, of course, coming across Shanks's and Shamrock's mother, saying, I'll be dead soon, take my boys somewhere. Now, I believe that this definitely, because in flashbacks, Oda, the whole Oda doesn't kill people. No, Oda kills people in flashbacks. Oda has no problem offing people in flashbacks who are supposed to already be dead by the time of the present. He has a big problem with offing people in the present storyline, but he's got no problem offing. And once again, this whole chapter, we can assume there was quite a few dead. So absolutely. So she has realized that Garling is not who she thought he was, and doesn't want her babies anywhere near their father anymore, and says, like, I don't know who you are, but please save my children, sort of idea. And we see Dragon running away with the children. Now, this is where this is Celestial Dragons meets One Piece meets the Hunger Games, I guess, sort of idea. I don't know. I never really got through the movies or the books of the Hunger Games, but I think it's something like this. Anyways, 13 super rare rabbits are worth 10,000 points each, including Kuma, who's a buccaneer, supposedly. So, 13 super rare rabbits, I assume that those are members of the Davy Clan. So, alongside of 150 rare rabbits. So, there is 163 people here who are all lined up to be murdered. Now, we know that Kuma is one of the 13 super rare. We can assume that some of the members of the Davy clan are also the super rare ones, the ones who are holding, obviously, the Will of D or the Will of Davy. Then they are all like chasing, and they're like, all right, the rabbits better start running and stuff, and they're all trying, we just see the terror and just the overwhelming, like, this is, it reminds me of some of those movies. Have you guys ever seen like those really bad, like not just like the slavery movies, but like the post-war, like the post-Civil War stuff, where there was still so much of this kind of crack on, like this, just the evil of the celestial dragons and how they do this for sport. You know what I mean? Like, it's absolutely dreadful. And of course, there's movies like this. Rambo 4 does a good version of this to a lesser degree, but obviously it's still absolutely awful. That things like this do actually happen, and have happened in human history. Like, this is not just fiction. This is very similar to things that have happened in the world, in other countries, and in first world countries, if you go back to their history and stuff. You know what I mean? The rich and the powerful think they can get away with anything and do regardless what the law says. And this is just absolutely horrendous, seeing, like, they're just referring to them as rabbits, like, please don't kill my husband, please don't hurt my baby, and stuff like that, and they just laugh maniacally as they shoot them and kill them and stuff like that. And they're talking about different world nobles being in the lead and stuff. Of course, Garling has a huge lead and stuff. And who did you bet on? Well, I bet on this person, I bet on that person and stuff. We get a few more names of different, of the 19 families who live in Marijo. We're getting a few more clans, a few more names. We do see Gunko. So Gunko was around here looking about the same age. Gunko was around here at the time of God Valley. So, and we do see Shaki looking just stoic. Like, she was stoic at the time when we saw her last chapter, and now she's stoic again. Like, she's standing there, like, absolutely not, she's in this cage or something like that, and she's just sitting there and, or standing there, and she just has this look of, like, just waiting. Like, she's not angry, she's not happy, she's just, like, on neutral right now, like, waiting. Maybe she assumes that Rayleigh's gonna come. Like, she assumes that the Rocks pirates will probably get involved, but I think she assumes that once Roger and Rayleigh hear about this, that they will come rescue her. Maybe she's just sitting there having faith in them, but she can't stand all of the death and destruction going on right now, and she can't do anything about it. And once again, she's a warrior. She's incredibly powerful herself. So the fact that she doesn't seemingly have a devil fruit, so sea stone handcuffs won't hold her. It's very interesting to see why she's just sitting back, or maybe she's waiting for the opportune moment to strike, because she can take out this fodder. Shaki is no slouch. She can take out some celestial dragons and their guards. Like, it's not like she's got a bunch of admirals and like 6 god knights guarding her. Like, she's waiting for the opportunity, because the god knights are actually part of the rabbit hunt. This human hunt that they're a part of, and it's absolutely terrible. We see, like, the Thorn guy doing his stuff. It's just absolutely disgusting. And Dragon is noticing this too. He's like, this is what we're doing. And he realizes that by trying to defy the celestial dragons, that these things will happen to him. We see that his entire platoon actually took the fault. They were executed because, like, the way I'm reading this, correct me if I'm wrong. Once again, I was wrong last chapter, but the way I'm reading this is that he came across not only, if he tries to save someone, he comes across all the dead, with targets on their back and stuff. He came across, like, all the dead humans that were part of this human hunt, and he's realizing, if I try to defy the celestial dragons and try to save anyone, my entire platoon will likely be beheaded. And the way I'm reading this is that they already were, because he says, or, like, he's recognizing that if he returns to the Marines with these children, his entire platoon will take the blame for it. So when I first read it, I assumed that the celestial dragons, or somebody had already murdered. They knew that Dragon had gone AWOL, and somehow, and the entire platoon was already beheaded or eliminated. That doesn't seem to be the case here. Upon a reread, I believe what happened is that he's recognizing that by trying to save these children, they are going to share his fate. It's not just him, and that's how they hold it over him. So, because we do get one quick shot of some officer basically saying, so is the whole platoon here? Yes, sir. He goes, that stupid dragon kid, where is he gone? He better not be on that island. So Dragon went on the island seemingly against orders, and his platoon leader is lying to their commanding officer, to their CO, and saying, oh yes, everyone's here and accounted for, sir. And he's like, he's not, but I'll get in shit if he knows a guy's missing, so I'm just going to lie. So Dragon's caught now between a rock and a hard place, trying to decide, like, what should he do. Celestial Dragon comes across Ivankov and Kuma and everyone like that, and is ready to shoot Kuma. By the looks of it, has Kuma in his sights, realizing that, oh, there's one of the big rare rabbits or whatever like that. And this is where, of course, Dragon still seemingly has his tranquilizer gun, so he immediately fires and takes out a Celestial Dragon and realizes, oh shit, like, he just reacted. He's like, oh shit, what have I done now? So this is where Dragon, because Ivankov does notice, supposedly they do notice, there's like a little ding, like a Metal Gear Solid thing, but it could just be Ivankov still talking to Kuma and stuff. I don't know if this is where Dragon actually meets up with them. It would make sense if he did, like this is where Dragon first encounters Ivankov and stuff like that. Because we know they make it off the island. Now, this is where the Rocks pirates show up. And we got Whitebeard. We got all, of course, we don't have the betrayer Wang Ji, but we do have everyone else. And they're like, all right, folks, we got Shocky. Now, Rocks is really smart here. He's like, listen, we got Shocky to save. There's legendary devil fruits here. There's bunch of bounty and booty and treasure. But there's no point in us not working together right now. We'll divvy up the treasure and fight it out later when we've won, when we have all the treasure in our possession. Then we'll kill each other over it. For right now, work together as a group just for now, and then we'll go back to, like Pirates of the Caribbean, everybody pointing their rifles at each other in World's End, you know what I mean? So Rox, this is part of what made Rox able to hold this crew together as long as he did, I think. He's just like, look, I'm not saying that we can't fight over who gets what later. I'm saying that let's win the battle first, then divvy up the treasure. Then worry about it. Like, that's not that, like, just the logical stuff that he does. And of course, as he told Harold, he hasn't told his crew why his real motivation for being here. Of course, he does want to save Shocky and interrupt the Celestial Dragons, blah, blah, blah. But these are all side benefits to Rox. Rox has one main goal, is to save his, of course, wife and child. So they remark that they can't split Shocky. Shocky won't, and I love Big Mom's reaction. Big Mom is like, none of you, like, all of you are stupid. Even the other women is like, all of you are dumb. You're all idiots. The entire world could be flipped on its head, and Shocky wouldn't give any of you the time of day. Sorry. Because Big Mom probably recognizes this. Big Mom knows that Shocky's already in love with Rayleigh, so there's no... And Gloriosa should sort of know this too, but Gloriosa, of course, is thinking of the side benefit of saving Shocky. Of course, she wants to save Shocky as well. She does like Shocky, but everyone else is like, Shiki's like, no, she's going to fall in love whoever saves her. And Silverback's, well, I'm not going to let you beat me to it. Captain John's like, well, I'm here for the treasure, and I think that Shocky will, the richest man, the one with the most bounty, will definitely get with Shocky, you know what I mean? So they're doing this back and forth. Whitebeard, I love Whitebeard's reaction, because this is very honest Whitebeard. Whitebeard is like, I'm just concerned with getting her back home and safe where she belongs. I mean, if she decides to fall for me, I'm not going to say no, to that. I mean, if she wants me, then I'm good with that, too. Like, that's a great side benefit if that ends up being the case. But I am here to save my friend. So he's very honest. Whitebeard is the honest man, of course, of the Rock crew. He's like, I'm not going to say no to being with Shocky, but I'm saying, like, I don't expect her just because I save her, and stuff like that. As I said, Big Mom's reaction is great. Kaido doesn't give a shit. Kaido's like, wait, Linlin, remember, you said that the devil fruits are really good here. Because he's looking up to Whitebeard right now, and he's like, Whitebeard, the difference between me and Whitebeard is he's got that super powerful devil fruit. He told him, only go for a really good one, like, because you're going to give up the ability to, swim and stuff like that, so you better remember that you got to, you got to pick your battle, you got to pick your devil fruit with extreme care. And so Kaido's thinking about the ones that Big Mom mentioned. He's like, hey, Big Mom, remember, if you get one of those devil fruits, you're going to give me one, right? Like that was our agreement. That's our deal. Gloriosa is, as I said, like, if I save Shocky, maybe Roger will see that as a good thing and maybe fall for me, sort of idea. All the side benefits going on with the Rocks crew. So this is where they're just like, you're wasting your time, Navy. I am Rocks DZ-back. Let's go forth, crew. And they just absolutely total everything. They just drive the ship like aground against... This ship is actually quite massive. It didn't look this big, of course, compared to Harold's ship being a giant ship. But he's actually bashing into these other ships, these other galleons and Navy ships, and just crashing right into them. We see Rocks hurry away with the two kids who are keeping themselves with all the explosions and everything going off around them. He notices, like, they're staying quiet. This is good. This is good. I don't know how they're staying quiet, but they are. This is a mistake that a lot of future parents make, and parents make initially. Young parents generally do this. My parents never made this mistake, and it was really good for me and my brother, but it's a common mistake that they try to be quiet. Oh, we just got the baby down. Everybody. No, that's a bad thing, because it's going to delay that the crying and the disturbing them way longer, like way longer, and you're never going to get any sleep that way. The best thing for a baby, I'm not saying blow their eardrums off. I'm not saying play a bunch of death metal music day in and day out. What I'm saying is that they need to get used to the hubbub, the normal coming and going, the sound of the TV, the fridge, the cooking, the cleaning, the vacuum. They need to get used to all these sounds, the day in and day out cars. They need to get used to that shit. And normally babies very quickly adapt if that's their normal tone. But if you try to keep their environment like a soundproof room all the time, then every little pin drop will disturb them, and it sucks. Shanks and Shamrock here were born very obviously very quickly in the former camp of where they they're just used to all the noise at this point. The noise isn't bothering them, like normal babies and stuff. And apparently my brother and I were similar in that way. Like my parents weren't like playing rock music every day in and day out, but they didn't stay quiet, you know what I mean? And apparently we didn't cry a whole lot as a result. Like, we were pretty well behaved. Like, people, they could have people over, people TV going, and it wouldn't matter. So in the same regard, Shanks and Shamrock are acting very, very good. Very good for two boys with, of course, now this is an extreme circumstance. We're not talking people just watching a football game or something. We're talking, like, explosions and kabooms and, like gunfire and all this craziness and people screaming and bellowing orders and, screaming in pain and death and destruction. So a little bit more of an extreme version, I would argue here. But the Roger Pirates, shortly therein, they show up as well, and we see them all going in. We have Gabon, we have Rayleigh, and we have Roger himself leading the charge, going, I'm going to go rescue Shocky. None of the rest of you have a shot, so you just focus on the treasure. This is where I absolutely love this. Roger gets stampeded by his own crew because they're like, oh, Captain, it's like, none of you have a shot at it, so don't even bother trying. And they're like, fuck you, Roger. So they run his ass over, and they're like, let's go get Shocky, Ben. And he's like, all right, my bad. So Roger, once again, just being Roger. Now we get to see a couple new members of the Holy Knights of God, the Gods Knights. We see a few new members of them. We see an ancient giant blood dude, looks like an Orr's cousin. And we see, of course, some of the members we've already seen before. A dude who's dressed like the sun god, what's his name, Ro? The creepy dude from the beginning of Elbath. Is that his name? Shit, I'm forgetting his name. Anyways, the creepy navigator guy or whatever, the new giant warrior pirates. He's wearing the same, desert cow mask thingy, skull, and it's like, and then we have, some fishman woman looking thing up there, and like we're getting some new members here. It's quite interesting. So there seems to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them here out of the, isn't there 12 or 13 of them? But a few of them are here, so half of them are on the island in this God Valley thing. So Roger Pirates have shown up, and both the Rocks Pirates have shown up at this point. Now the Gods Knights are there to protect apparently pulled the Navy back to protect the Celestial Dragons. The Holy Knights of God are stepping in. So I'm assuming that it means that, all right, Navy is going to make a circle, protect the Celestial Dragons while we go out and deal with the pirates, because normal Navy cannot deal or defeat or even damage members of the Roger or the Rocks crew, right? So this is what happens here. Now, we're seeing them slicing and dicing, going everywhere. Battleships are going. God Valley is in an uproar. It's all crazy. And then, boom, we see, hold on, don't chop up my men like a plate of vegetables. Boom, cannonball in. Rocks and Roger both notice, of course, when the arrival of the greatest Marine in history, Vice Admiral Garp, is here. And he even says, with a cannonball in one hand and his fist in the air, I'm here, baby. Let's do this shit. And everyone's like, yeah, Garp's fleet is here. And he's just like, yeah, Vice Admiral Garp in his prime. The man, the greatest Marine, the dude who can fight toe-to-toe with Whitebeard, with Rocks, with Roger. The greatest pirates feared this dude. Let's freaking go. So what a great chapter. I'm stoked. I'm stoked. As I said, I have hope. I have hope that we get more than just clashes. Oda, don't go away from this. We are fine. We don't need to see Luffy and the crew for the rest of the year. If he wants to give me an entire autumn of nothing but chapters of God's Valley with Rocks and Roger and Garp and everyone just going mayhem and beating the shit out of guys like Garling who absolutely deserve it. And once again, they might have this ability, but once these are the Conquer hockey specialists. Like, Whitebeard is in his prime. Roger, I mean, you could argue they're maybe a few years away from their true prime, but none of them are sick. None of them are dying. None of them are too old. This is prime Rayleigh, prime Scopper, prime Roger, prime Rocks, prime Garp. Garling, 6 God's Knights, I'm sorry, you're getting your shit wrecked. There was a reason you were not mentioned when Sengoku was talking about this shit. There was a reason, and you could argue, well, they don't need to know about that. No. The reason was because the 3 main players showed up, and Garling, I'm sorry, but you ain't, when we're sitting here, and we got these dudes showing up, I'm sorry, Garling, you were top dog on the island for all of 5 minutes before these dudes showed up. I'm sorry, you just ain't them. So I can't wait for these 6 to think they can actually do something. Yes, they're super powerful and stuff like that, but they're not these guys. Like, I'm sorry, I guarantee you Garp can beat their ass. I guarantee you Scopper, Rayleigh, Roger, Rocks, Whitebeard, these dudes can take out the God's Knights. They are way too much on their high horse and their regen bullshit, It's like Dragon Ball all over again. That regen shit got old 6 years ago, So, but yeah, either way, I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping that Oda stays here and we just get to see the fighting, the massacring, how Dragon met up with Ivankov and stuff, why Shanks got rescued but Shamrock was separated, how Shamrock ended up in Garling's possession while Shanks ended up in Roger's possession. Where was Dragon during how did Dragon get away? Does Dragon meet up with his father Garp here and they're like, what the hell, and blah 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 and all these things. There's so much. And how was Rocks inevitably at the end of this, supposedly this is where Rocks meets his end, so how did that all go down? You know what I mean? And obviously nobody cared to take over Pirate Island after this. We know that obviously Rayleigh at some point must rescue Shocky or whoever rescued Shocky. Shocky gets away and ends up saying, Rayleigh, I'm done. I'm not going. Obviously, Pirate Island has been betrayed and taken over and stuff. I'm going with you wherever you go. If you're going with Roger, then I'm going with you. And for all we know, Shocky could have been on the final voyage. We didn't see her, but that doesn't mean that she wasn't on the Rogers crew for a time. It's possible. She might not have made the final voyage, but she could have been on the crew for a time being like, I'm not being separated from you anymore. That I'm just not doing that. And then she sets up in the archipelago. She sets up with the Sapodi archipelago shortly thereafter God Valley. Entirely possible as well. So lots to go on this one. Wow, this is a great chapter. This is an amazing chapter. I was so happy to see this, and I just hope we stay here. I want to stay here at God Valley for till Christmas. I'm good if we just get to see fight after fight and we get to see all these main people because Oda has made a distinction, I feel. A lot of mangakas don't do this, or they do, but then they eventually go, okay, you've surpassed the old gen. Most shonen end up going, okay, these guys were badasses for the first half of the series, and then we go, you have, by the final arc, or the final couple arcs, they've already surpassed the old generation, like, you're more powerful than I ever was, sort of idea. The pupil surpasses the master. It generally happens, but what we have been told, Oda has sort of flipped this on its head to a degree and said, pretty much, right now, no. The new gen has yet to be these guys. These guys, Garp, Sengoku, Roger, Rayleigh, Rocks, Whitebeard, all these dudes in their prime are more powerful than the current gen. If, as Garp said, if the Rocks crew ever got back together, there's nothing we could do about it. We were only able to hold them off because of who we had at the time, but we've grown weaker, not stronger, over the years. No one has become the new Garp. As powerful as Aokiji and Akainu are and people like that, no one has reached the level of what Garp was in his prime, so they just don't have that strength anymore. And the same on the pirate side of things. A new Roger is in the works, but is Shanks as powerful now as Roger and Rocks were right here? I'm gonna say I'm a big Shanks guy, but I'm gonna say no. You know, I'm gonna say that most people couldn't deal with Prime Rayleigh right here. I'm gonna say that most of the new gen couldn't deal with Rayleigh in his prime. You know, they'd be 1v1. He could take out current Blackbeard if he was in his prime. Whitebeard could take out current Blackbeard. They could take out Luffy. They could take out most of these dudes. You know, and I just think that like Oda is doing this much different. Or differently, I should say, than most shonen mangas, because by this point in the story, usually by a time skip or two, they've said, you've already surpassed me. It doesn't matter if it's in Food Wars, it's cooking. In Naruto, it's ninjutsu. In friggin', in Bleach, it's just ryatsu and stuff like that. And generally speaking, it's like the main cast usually surpasses them by a certain point, and Oda's doing this a little different, saying, nah, the old gen still had it. The old gen has yet to be topped, and I kind of like that. I really like that, actually. So, puts a lot of respect on the old dudes and the legends, you know what I mean? And I like that. They're just basically saying, look, it's the Michael Jordan, this was the Michael Jordan era, and it has yet to be topped. You've come close, and there's arguments, but at the end of the day, it's not, you're just not there yet, So, I like it. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below, as always. Like, comment, subscribe, as always, as well. And I'm looking forward to 1161. I think it's going to be a great chapter. I think we're going to be here. I hope we're here for at least the next month or so. I want at least another 6-7 chapters as flashback at a minimum. But we'll have to wait and see what Oda wants to do with it. So, anyway, because remember, this is technically the Harald flashback. So, okay. But anyways, yeah, that's it for me. Have a good one, everyone. See you back here next time. Sayonara.